So you literally have characters in the book who start to feel frustrated or anxious, and it's just like, oh, I don't like how I feel. And then they can all of a sudden, they can feel the pulse kicking in, rebalancing them.
And that's what I tried to think of is like, what is an innovation or an app or a thing that solves a solution or that solves something that each of us deals with that would be almost impossible to say no to? And the idea here is the allure of tech is insatiable, especially in the world that we live now.
It sounds tempting. Like, anxiety sucks, man. To imagine all of a sudden just something kicking in automatically, and it's just like, oh, it's gone. Awesome.
I tried to put myself into this world and think about, well, what are things that I would want to have? You know what I mean? Just me without thinking about the consequences of them. Just things that would make my life better. And it's similar to what you just expressed, Joey. Like, one of the battles that I've always faced dating back as long as I can remember is when I feel something, I feel it really strongly to the point where it overwhelms me. I've made decisions in my life along the way out of those emotions. For me, this would be something that I would be very tempted to take part in. This is an app that I would definitely pay money for, right? This is how I thought of this. There is a direct correlation between how much time we spend on our phones, how much time we spend on the internet, how much time we spend on social media, and depression and a whole host of other emotional ails. As we become more digitally oriented as a species, the more our mental health will suffer, to a point where we will see evidences of this around us, and someone will have to intervene. In America especially, the prevalence of, quote, medicine in treating our emotional states has only increased, right? Along with all of the other things mentioned in that paragraph that I read, suicide rates, and
Murder,
and depression, and school shootings, and all the above.
You could see people making a moral case for it. Like, if you can't support the pulse, then you don't care about kids in school. You don't care about school shootings. You don't care about people in general. You're inhumane if you can't support this sort of thing.
I love that you just said that, because who wouldn't want to be on that bandwagon, right? It's
there'd be a pulse mob online.
Totally.
You'd be canceled if you didn't like the pulse. All right, well, it's the Seacoast Podcast, everyone. And
don't let your kids bite other people's ankles.
Yeah, don't do that. And also, sometimes people will ask me when these episodes recorded. This will give you a good feel for how ahead of schedule we are. We are 5 days into the Winter Olympics, and Lynn just found out that the Winter Olympics were happening.
I had no clue. They were talking about people being on the podium or skating, and I was like, it's the winter. I like figure skating. That's why I like the Winter Olympics.
I think the only reason why I like figure skating, and it's so weird, I don't want to see a train wreck, but I want to be there if it happens.
No,
I hate it, but it's like, that's what's interesting about it.
Like, you want to see them not make the land?
I don't.
Like, not land the jump?
But that's the suspense that keeps me. I'm like, are they going to, like, basically throw their 4 years of work down the drain? I don't want to see it happen, but if it happens, I want to see it happen.
No, I'm so disappointed, Joey.
I don't want to see it happen.
I know.
Moving on. Hey, we've got some explaining to do.
I can't get past this.
Hey, the four of us, we've got some explaining to do.
Yes.
When we're all in this together. We have mentioned before that we are the Corn Crew. Yeah. And we have never gone into why we are the Corn Crew. Well, we are going to explain to listeners. So
are we? Or should we just have them text in and make guesses?
No, because
and then 2 episodes later we'll tell them
it's a great conversation. It's right up there with all the important conversations that we have on here. So if you're listening in studio, we've got Bree McLeod, Lynn Stroy, Tamilix Copeland, and myself, Joey Svendsen. And there was one time, I think before Christmas, in which I'm pretty sure I made the comment that corn is a very neutral food for me. I don't like it and I don't dislike it, but I don't like it in things. Like if you add corn to stuff, why did you do that? I didn't need it. And now the corn messes it up and I don't like it, which led Bree to basically say she hates corn.
For all of those reasons, though. Like, it doesn't
But you're
make
not
you
neutral
mad,
to
and
it.
it makes me mad. But you're like, it doesn't belong in this. It messes this up. It doesn't add. Like, those are all of the reasons why I hate it.
Right. But like just a piece of corn on the cob sitting on a plate, that's not nasty to you, is it?
It's disgusting.
It is. Okay, so you're not neutral to corn. See, I'm neutral to it.
We're never going to be able to not have this conversation.
And Lynn...
Every time it's going to feel like the first time.
Right. And so...
And T is disappointed in me and gives me that look
disappointed.
So
every
Lynn-
Like, I don't
time.
even know where you stand, and I'm so disappointed.
Lynn and Tamilix felt like we were on another planet talking about corn like this.
You
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
And then we started to, you started to say, well, have you ever had corn like, here's what I will say, consistently, Mexican restaurants, the street corn that they serve, I like it.
Okay.
I like it. And what's that cheese on it? What is that? Is that
Cohicha.
Cohicha? It is cheese though?
Yeah, it's
Yes.
cheese.
Now that is not neutral to me. I will actually, in fact, I went to a Mexican restaurant for my son's birthday, took the kids out and ordered that. So I'm not neutral to street corn.
See, here we go.
It's how it's made.
It's
Which
who's cooking.
was the argument.
It's who's cooking.
So you mean to tell me that even a pile of corn on the cob, however it's served, you could make it taste, it taste in a way where I'd be like, "Ooh, I like that."
He'd be like, yes. I would be able to make it and make you want seconds.
Gotcha.
Like,
All right.
I don't think, I just,
And you had a bowl of chili the other day, and you picked out every single kernel
single
of
one.
corn.
You were there.
I was
Yeah.
there.
Watched her.
And I took the picture that I sent to you
Yeah.
guys because I was like,
Yeah.
I was eating the chili. It was a white chicken chili. The cafe had it. And she said, is there corn in it? And I was like, yeah, but it's fine. And she's like, how much corn is it? Because I think you had a traumatic experience.
I did. I got chili a couple months ago before Christmas, and it had corn in it. And I was like, well, I just really want chili, so I'm willing to put in the work to, It took like a quarter of the chili out of the bowl by the time I took all the corn out.
Corn shouldn't be in chili.
I
Really
think I know the problem. The problem is not the fact that you don't like corn. The problem is that you just order a bunch of random stuff that's just got random stuff in it. You should be eating chili with corn in it.
Why is there corn in chili?
Because some random person who is crazy about recipes is like, oh, it sounds great to put some corn in here. Let's try it out. Nah, that's not what we do.
Like that.
That is not what we do.
But that's why I'm mad, because it doesn't belong in there.
But you can't get mad at the corn because some Yahoo decided to throw it in there.
So you're saying I should be mad at the person?
Yes, you should be mad at Paula Dean or whoever
You
recipe
mean to tell
it is
me
you're
that we
eating.
can't be mad at the corn? Is that what you're standing here telling me today?
I am telling you that the corn is innocent. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to go in and T's going to hate me for this, but
oh no.
I agree with regular chili. Why would you put corn in there? But this white chicken chili tasted
Lynn.
good with corn.
Lynn, it did not need that.
It tasted good.
It was
with
really good chili on its own.
It was good with the corn.
Could this ever get between y'all's friendship?
Never. Never.
No.
All
Till
right,
the
well,
end.
Today, I'm really excited for two things. First of all, because it's going to be a neat conversation. This is going to be fun, just the four of us. But after the four of us, it's Andrew Schwab. Now, Andrew is the lead singer of a band called Project 86, which when they started like 20 years ago, I mean, they got really big. They're in the Christian music scene. Well, Adam Erickson, he is on our production team. He's our video senior. I'll call him.
He's on the video team.
He's the man. Well, Project 86 is like one of his absolute favorite bands, So he is very excited to be talking to Andrew. But Andrew wrote a book called Omni, and it is on, like nowadays, I read this book and I'm like, wow, it still seems a little out there. Like I could not imagine a world like this. But given the AI age that we're living in right now, it doesn't seem too far-fetched. And it's a fictional piece, and it is from a Christian perspective, but it's not like a Christian book per se, but you can tell where his heart is beating. And it's kind of like here's where we could end up, people, and it's not good. So I will tell you that part of the storyline is, or I'll just say, a big corporation figures out how to solve all the world's problems. And so they're basically taking over the world, and they eventually solve the problem of death. But there's so much backstory, lots of details going into it. So there's we'll get into all that with Andrew, but I want to ask you guys some questions about the future, just as people, and how you process this stuff personally on the optimism pessimism scale about the advancement of technology and AI in general. Where are you guys at? Like, we'll put it this way: 5 would be impartial. 10, we'll say 10 is, oh my gosh, this is not good. We need to start going back, but we're not. I'm a little freaked out. And 0 would be like, oh, this is kind of cool. See where all this lands. Help me out some. Like, where are you guys at?
Well, I don't think 10 is actually an option because we know how this story is going to end. I'm going to say a hard 8, only because I've been sending y'all stuff and I'm like, y'all, this is Revelations whatever. This is Matthew whatever. This is like the whole digital ID being mandatory to work and all. Do I think that the system in the Antichrist is here? No. Do I think that things are being put in place that would make it easy for it to be ushered in when it actually is here? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to ever go back? No, because you're never going to go back to doing things in a more primitive way. We're never going to have a phone that's not going to have AI, because AI makes life easy. It also records everything that you've ever done in your life ever. So whenever this world system comes, it's going to be able to say, hey, you need to do this because it will help you, and it'll give you a laundry list of things that will help you.
So with your 8, you don't like it?
No, I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I'm with T. I was going to say 7, but I do feel like 8's better. And
it's not a 10 because of your belief in the Lord?
Yeah, and because I would say 8 in that I think it's problematic, but not a 10 because I'm not worried. Like, I didn't even know the Olympics was happening. So, me and the Lord, we just hanging out. You guys do what you want to do. But to T's point, it's easy. And so the more technology we're using, people are trying to shortcut life, basically. And it's shortcutting processes, it's shortcutting development, it's shortcutting what we mature in, even to the point where in the church people are taking shortcuts, trying to take shortcuts with spiritual maturity. And I think that there is a formation that happens that does not happen through shortcuts. And so the more we lean into things that for convenience sake, and we don't ask the question of, we can't build muscles unless our muscles are strained and torn. And so even to be physically strong, we have to do things that don't feel good. And so to be spiritually and intellectually strong, we're going to have to do things that don't feel good. And when technology removes the need for that, that is a dangerous place for us to be.
So I'll give Bree a little more time to think about her answer, and I'm going to say that I almost want to go a hard 5, but the only reason why, which is kind of impartial, and it's just because I'm happy to say, because I used to be the complete opposite, and I had to do some really hard work, therapy, just personal development, but I used to have irrational fears about a tsunami hitting the Charleston area. Like, who has any business worrying about something like that? You know what I'm saying? Where now I'm just on the complete opposite extreme. I'm just very, in a healthy way, detached to things that I cannot control. The only reason why I don't like 5 is because I do see it as problematic. I don't see it as, I see progress in many ways, but net wise, I would say I do not see it as progress. So I guess I'd have to say a 5.5. But as far as it like freaking me out, it's like, whatever, whatever. What about you?
It scares me a little bit, and scared may be too heavy and serious of a word. Freaks me out a little bit, and the possibilities of it freak me out a little bit. But I think the thing that that makes me the saddest about moving in this direction is like the more that technology advances and this kind of stuff advances, we are losing the ability to critically think, like as people, to have our own thoughts and I saw this, as a teacher years ago when technology, we put computers in the hands of people and these students, and they have access to the internet all the time. And it's like, I would see the decrease in their ability, and we'd have to fight harder to like, hey, you don't need to use these resources right now. What do you think based on what you know? Like, think about this and formulate these ideas. And so, yeah, it worries me just a little bit. But that part makes me the saddest, is I fear we are going to continue to dumb our culture down, and we can't think for ourselves anymore.
Yeah. Now, is there any, because I would say for me, for sure, and this is where the progress comes in for me, is there any sort of like optimism in the medical field? I mean, because bottom line, as things progress, I don't think it's out of bounds to think that cancer will eventually be figured out. And so I think a lot of sicknesses via technology are going to be no more. To me, that's a perfect example of how there's almost everything has good and bad.
Joy,
there's
can I ask
exceptions.
you, I'm going to ask you this question. And I love you. Let me start it off with that.
All right. If you have to start off by saying, listen, I love you,
I know.
but here it comes.
Yeah.
Please tell me something that has been cured since polio.
Whew.
I'll wait.
Well, I think the biggest difference in...
No, son. There is no money in curing nothing.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You can get as much medicine as you want. We don't even have a cure for the common cold.
See, the only thing is there would be money for someone to say, I found the cure.
And that person would die.
That
because big business would kill them.
Well, that is such a good point, because it's like we're in a system.
Yeah.
And so, medicine in terms of technology bringing an end to an entire industry.
Yes. Who was the black guy? There was a black guy who had a natural something, and it cured like, I don't remember what it was. It might have been a form of cancer, and your boy disappeared. You know what? I'm gonna do the research.
You need to find him, because we've got 17 days left to honor him. Yeah.
I'm going. I can't remember what it was, but I remember my cousin Chad was telling me, he was like, yeah, you need to be looking at this guy. He's got all of these natural ways to do this and do that. And then all of a sudden, poof, he was gone.
Man. All right, so my parents used to call these Joey questions, so I'll go with their terminology. I think they saw the podcasting in me before there was podcasting. They was like, oh, that was a Joey question.
Did they make you fact-checked with the encyclopedia?
No, I was 7.
Wait a minute, you didn't answer my question. What has been cured?
I'm not that scientifically minded. I will believe you if you say nothing.
I'm just saying.
I do know that there's vaccines that keep you from getting stuff.
That don't cure nobody.
They keep you from getting stuff.
They keep you from getting the strand that they were created, but viruses are always mutating. So if you get a flu vaccine, you're getting one of the strands from last season, which can help build immunity, but you could still get the flu because you could get a different strand.
Yeah, but let's just face it. You know, the deadliest animal on the face of this earth that's killed more people than anybody is mosquitoes. In America, very little deaths from mosquitoes. So there is technological progress, but as far as like, what? As far as like...
What are these mosquitoes transmitting to these people, Joey?
Yellow fever, malaria. Malaria is the big one.
Yeah, but that's never been an issue
I'm just
here
saying,
because it hadn't made it.
No, I'm pretty sure it's because of vaccines. Anyway, we're going down.
I never had a yellow fever vaccine until I went to a third world country.
Not even malaria?
No, you don't have to take those. You don't get a malaria or a yellow fever vaccine, and if you're born and raised in the US, you only get it if you go. I've taken malaria pills when I've gone. Also, I'd like to talk
anthrax, that's an old school disease that we don't deal with that used to be in America.
Wasn't that a chemical somebody created?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not originally.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Also the food industry. Like I don't know this for sure because I'm not a scientist, so don't send me any emails, people out there. But I would wager to bet that a lot of our illnesses and sicknesses and diseases are coming from the things that we consume.
Mm-hmm.
And so to come up with a cure for them technologically would counter the industry that's feeding us all these convenience foods. So
the answer to the question is we ain't cured nothing.
I've been educated.
Wow.
I've been educated. All right, so here's a Joey question. If you could pessimistically look 100 years into the future, so there is such thing as, like, think about back in the day. I've had kidney stones since I was in the 8th grade. I couldn't imagine not having that pain mitigated in some way. And back in the 1600s, they thought you were demon possessed. What's going on with that guy? He's in so much pain, must be spiritual. So there are some benefits of living in this day and age when it just comes to medicine in general, pain in general. So 100 years into the future, just kind of speculate what that would look like. Would you rather live in 2126 or the 1600s?
2126.
Bruh, you can't ask black people that. What kind of... That's just not smart, Joey. What the world, bro?
I'm sorry, it was a blunder.
Next question. Oh my God.
And there's no way I can say, well, slavery aside.
Yeah.
I'll choose the time where eyes of people be free.
Bree, will you make this decision? I hope Lynn doesn't make us edit any of this out.
Oh God, I cannot.
I don't know how to recover this.
It may not be recoverable.
I don't think so.
Joey questions, ladies and gentlemen.
And this has been an episode of Silly Things Said by Joey. Oh boy.
All right. My last question about all this, then we're going to move on to Andrew Schwab. Do you see technology advancing in a way where it feels like a Tower of Babel moment, and then that's when Jesus is going to come back? So in a way where AI and technology starts to allow us to play the role of God in ways we have no business playing, which I feel like we're really hitting up against that pretty closely. Now, that seems allegorical to the Tower of Babel, who they were trying to, it kind of says they're trying to be like God, building, up to heavens. Do you think, because that's the thing when I hear Christians say, oh my gosh, the Jesus' second coming thousands of years from now, when they guess that, and I'm like, I just don't see how you think that, because it just seems like at some point the King of Kings is going to say enough is enough. You guys are not in control. And it seems like this time in 50 years, we're going to be at a place to where it's just like we're figuring a lot of stuff out that we have no business figuring out how to do. Or I'll rephrase the question. If you had to guess, when would y'all say Jesus is coming back? And no man knows, not even the Son of Man knew. But if you had to guess, would you say 50-ish, 10-ish, 100, thousands of years?
I don't know.
Oh, that's a boring answer.
You done? I do know this. I could see a world in 100 years that has replaced the Bible in churches with phones. Because there are more people who go to ChatGPT for an answer than go to a pastor. And if Satan is the ruler of this world, I have to think that at some point, little things will start to be manipulated and those answers can be warped. And it ain't going to be nothing big. It'll be like you'll ask ChatGPT for a Bible verse, and instead of it saying Jesus, it'll just say God. And then it'll go from God to like he. And then I can just see little things being changed in scriptures because you're not physically looking at something that's not going to change, that's not controlled by man. And I do worry. I worry that in 100 years, God might be mad and be like, nah, y'all aren't taking the instruction that I gave you seriously. The world will be so far removed from what righteousness truly looks like because they're following an interpretation of the Bible that's created to not give homage and honor to the Creator, and it could happen. I mean, I doubt it'll be in 100 years, but I can definitely see it happening sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I mean, just for fun speculation, I would think in the 50-year range. You know, if somebody said, if you had to guess, I'd be like, I couldn't see 100 years. I could see maybe 50 years. But obviously, it literally could be hundreds of thousands of years for all we know. What do you think?
I'm in agreement with you, T. 1,000%.
Yeah. And I mean, the problem with putting a year range on it is that because we believe the Bible and we know things to be true, like how long do you think it's going to be for the entire world to get on the same monetary system? Like, we ain't just talking about America, China, Russia. We're talking about Haiti, Honduras, like Zimbabwe.
Not long.
Yeah.
Not long.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would go 50 to 100.
Yeah.
Easy. Because it only takes, and we already see this happening in other parts of the world where a larger country with lots of resources is going in and creating roads and highways and businesses in another country. And so that country is favorable to them because they are creating infrastructure.
Yeah.
And so, and most countries are not democratic, you know? And so, it like taking over seems dramatic to us, but I don't think it does in other cultures.
Yeah.
And so I think that it could, I mean, what other time in history have people been millions and millions, maybe billions of people watching something in real time happen?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it could happen. And it's like everything is tied to the internet. Right? On everybody online banks. I go to Five Guys and try to give them cash. This kid looks at me like I'm a two-headed monster. And he had to ask, do we take cash? I'm like, you definitely take cash. But if tomorrow power went out, electricity went out, some cyber thing happens, everybody's money is controlled by whoever's controlling the network. Like, what happens to the world? So I think it could be a lot sooner.
I think it's the first time in my life that I've said, it's not crazy.
Yeah.
It's not wild.
Yeah.
And I used to hate when people were like, Jesus is coming back, you know, like there would be something crazy happening in our country or another country or like just something wild. And people would be like, people in church growing up, the old church ladies would be like, Jesus is coming back. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't know the day and you don't know the hours. But now,
you don't
he's
know
coming
the day,
back.
You don't know the hours, but you do see the signs.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
See
And I see them more than ever before.
And do you feel it differently? Like, and I don't know if that is just the older we get and the longer we've been walking with him, the more we desire him to return. And like, just the world is pushing up against what we know is not him. Or is it this switch of like, I didn't used to be like, come Lord Jesus. You know, like that wasn't the cry of my heart before. Yes. And so it feels like, like every day it just feels this increasing, like, come. So,
solve it all. Solve it all. Yeah. All right. Well, Andrew Schwab with me, Jack, and Adam. And then we're going to continue talking and release this to the patrons. Did you guys know that strawberries are not berries? And then y'all are also going to learn where the word boycott came from and Bluetooth. Do y'all know any of those? Do you, Lynn?
I don't know any of these things.
Get ready. All right, thank you guys. Andrew Schwab.
I'm Andrew. Tell me your names again one more time.
I'm Adam.
Adam and Jack.
And Jack, right? Yep.
Yeah, two buddies, and one is a one is a super fan. So I asked Adam, I said, hey man, can you join a recording with Andrew Schwab? And the date that I proposed, you were going on a missions trip?
Yeah.
And that was next week?
Yep.
Or you've already been on the mission? Oh, that's right. You were just talking about whether or not you should travel.
Yeah.
So Adam has an apology to make to you, Andrew, as a super fan. But
that's great. I've been waiting on this, dude. I've been holding on to some stuff, so I'm glad we're doing this.
Caitlin, do you have that picture?
Wow.
All right. Do you see that picture, Andrew?
There it is.
Yeah, that guy's...
All right, explain yourself, young man.
Mad.
All right, so in college, actually when I first heard about you guys, I was in Columbia, South Carolina, went to see you at New Brooklyn Tavern, and took a girl who I was trying to impress. I was in a photography class. We're in the front row.
Mistake number one, don't bring a girl to a Project 86 show.
Well, she liked you guys.
That's good.
Yeah, as did I, obviously. And so we're in the front row, and she had her camera with her. I was like, hey, I'll get you a good picture. So I took the camera and I just put it straight up in the air and snapped a shot. And, you saw how close that was to your face. It was pretty much that close to your face. And flash was on, probably blinded you. I'm surprised you didn't smack me upside the head. You would have been, justified. But I always felt bad. I was like, I love the picture. I've saved it for years, but I always felt bad. So sorry about that.
You just had an opportunity to apologize for something you've been storing down there for a long time.
I've been so mad about that, dude.
You've been thinking all this time. That jerk at New Brooklyn Tavern.
What year was this?
Oh, gosh. 2004, I would say.
That's what it looked like. Yeah, dude. So, man.
It was a great show, though.
That wasn't Hannah, though, was it?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. Hannah does not seem like a
So this is not a girl that you ended up with.
No. The next date I took her on was to a monster truck show.
It's my fault. It's my fault that it didn't happen, dude.
Sorry.
You know what, though? When we're done, you should send that picture. Because I'll post it on our Patreon. People always get a kick out of.
Yeah, for sure.
I will. I almost sent it to you via the Patreon once, and I just never did.
Yeah, so this dude supports your work, and I mean he is all in Project 86.
What's your last name, Adam?
Erickson? Adam Erickson.
I recognize your name, dude. Where are you from again?
Charleston, South Carolina.
Charleston. Okay, yep. So you've been on the Patreon and.
Yep, Omni 1, Omni 2, and then even some of the previous Kickstarters or whatever platform they were on.
So cool. Well, thank you, man.
Oh,
wow.
Thank you.
Really cool. It's an honor for me to talk to you on this thing.
What about Jack?
What? See, now, you two clearly had a side chat thing because I didn't even know any of this stuff about you, Adam.
Yeah.
And so thanks for giving me the heads up that there's going to be this thing, and then you're going to throw it to me.
Now, what's your involvement with Christian music back in the day? The only band that I've heard you mention was Five Iron Frenzy. Did you ever get into the heavy scene or any of the real indie stuff like Starflyer 59?
I kind of eclectic because I was in youth group in the late 90s. Of course, I listened to Five Iron Frenzy. I think there was a requirement. And so, yeah, there's a lot of ska stuff. But in college, I really listened to a lot of Caban's Call, Andrew Peterson. Still listen to Andrew Peterson all the time. But then in terms of the harder scene, I think, POD, which, Seacoast had a summer where when when I was in high school where we had like this concert series where like we're going to get bands to play at Seacoast. So we had Five Iron Frenzy, we had POD, and we had bands like some don't exist anymore. Like I don't know if you familiar with Dear Ephesus.
Oh yes, I've been to their concert.
Yeah, so I had Dear Ephesus, and my house was sort of opened up as the band can stay there when they're in town. And so Dear Ephesus spent the night at my house. POD spent the night at my house, but I was not there.
Whoa,
and
you missed out, man.
I did miss out. But we got home, and Sonny had left a very nice note, and all of my PlayStation games were everywhere. So I would say I was kind of all over the place.
So you've for sure heard of Project 86.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And Andrew, so I think you know this, but this is a mega church in the South. It's been around since 1988. On the surface, this is what I tell people all the time. On the surface, it just looks like your run-of-the-mill mega church. They're all the same. But I would say, I think I could speak for all three of us that it is very likely the only church that the three of us could even work at. It is a very special place.
Cool.
And
what's the name of it?
It's Seacoast Church.
Gotcha.
Seacoast Church. Yep. And Sonny was a former guest, and we actually had Michael Sweet on. You recall Striper? You heard of Striper, right? Yep. And here's what's funny is we have at least one confirmed regular listener from the silent generation, so pre-boomer, and we're going to be playing some Project 86 music throughout this episode. So we'll see what all the elders think of Project 86. Hey, so we're going to be talking about Omni, and thank you so much for sending this to me.
Thanks for reading it.
Enjoyed it. I'll tell you that I guess the glossary that went at the beginning of the book, it was overwhelming at first, but then I got the groove of it, and I started to, I for a while I would read through it and I would keep referring back. Okay, what does this word mean? What does that word mean? We're going to go through three of these words, but first, right off the bat, I would say this book expresses a great deal of pessimism with where we are headed or where we could head. And I am going to get to whether or not you think this is possibly where we could end up. But would you say that in reality, you are relatively pessimistic about AI and where we're heading as a society?
Pessimistic. That's such a heavy word. But I would say this. History has demonstrated, and there are volumes of books out there on this subject. I'm reading one right now. This is a great one. I'm going to plug this. This is called Super Bloom. Hold on, let me hold it back a little. By an author named Nicholas Carr. A subtitle, How Technologies of Connection Tear Us Apart. So it kind of walks through the history of communication technology of the last 100 years or so and how it's transformed our world. I would say that our relationship with innovation, our relationship with technology has been fairly consistent over the ages. And as probably Nicholas Carr would concur with, for example, that relationship has been a tumultuous one. We have a tendency to monetize new innovation before we calculate its effects on individuals and the collective. And the net effect is that we hurt ourselves in the process. My idea of what technology actually is very biblically rooted, actually. It goes all the way back to the Tower of Babel, which is why there's a big tower on the front of that book you're holding. I believe the spirit of mankind is to avert death and to use any means necessary to try to cheat the, quote, curse that's been dealt to us. And so innovation at its core is an attempt to find some way around the boundaries that God has established for us. And that's what you see happening at the Tower of Babel story in Genesis. Basically, God commanded us to spread, to take over the earth and to multiply, and we did the opposite. We came together, we shared information, There's some suggestion in extra biblical literature that we were guided by extraterrestrial sources in that innovation. And we can talk about this as we get into the conversation a little bit further. In an attempt to basically subvert God, or put another way, to kill God or replace him. And human history has been one cycle after another of our attempts to do this in various forms. And we are at a point in human history now where all of our dreams are coming to fruition in terms of what we are capable of doing with shared information. So it's a very exciting time that we live in, but it's also a very scary one if you believe in the biblical worldview about the nature of man, which is we are selfish. We are, when left to our own devices, going to destroy things, including ourselves. So that's the explanation, or the answer to your question, the explanation for my own pessimism about where I believe culture is headed, guided by innovation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So similar to what we did in a different podcast, I want you to set up however you want Omni, the storyline, without giving any sort of details away. But I would like for you to explain transpar, the pulse, which I think was my favorite element of it, basically eradicating mental illness and anger and any of the negative emotions. And then the optic. Okay. Make sure people know what those three things are, but give us the general storyline, and then I've got some philosophical questions for the three of you, and then we'll let you get on your way.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat and grab my book.
Yeah, please do.
Because I want to look at what you looked at. So give me 2 seconds. I'll grab the book.
Are you impressed at all that I know Lenore from Five Iron Frenzy?
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
so
that's pretty cool.
What did you guys say?
I just asked Jack, I said, are you impressed at all that I know Lenore from Five Iron Frenzy? And he looked at me like I was an idiot and said, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, but I'm also like, but how does she know you? And what does she think about you? I mean, these are things that you're not bringing into it at all.
We'll have to keep that in the podcast somehow. That was funny.
When I was living in Denver about a decade ago, I hit her up on Facebook because I knew they were from the Denver area, and we connected a couple of times. And I think the first time we got together, she said something like, I always thought you didn't like me. And I was like, really? Why did you think that? She's like, I don't know. It's just a vibe. And I was like, I think maybe because we were so not ska, and the whole mentality was so different than what myself and the guys I rolled my band, you know what I mean? The mentality was so different. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we had a good laugh over that. Anyways, You asked about, first and foremost, the optic. What I imagined is that at some point, and I tried to base all of this world building decision making on real world interviews. I did a lot of research, tried to really listen to the Sam Altmans and the Bill Gates and the Mark Zuckerbergs, try to really hone in on what the core of the things that they're shooting for revolve around, right? What do they believe, and as a consequence of what they believe, what are they trying to make to execute their worldview, so to speak. So that was some of the research I did for the novel. So one of the conclusions I came to was that smartphone technology is moving inward in terms of the individual. The goal of the big tech company is to occupy as much space inside of human beings as possible in terms of our consciousness, in terms of our decision making, in terms of our hormones, in terms of obviously the neural connections that are fashioned inside of us. And you see this not only in the realms of the smartphone, but in advertising as well. It's becoming increasingly invasive, even in terms of, like, I just bought a Hisense television a while ago. It's a great television, but one of the warnings that I read out there in reading reviews is that Google spies on you through it. And it made me just think about all of the omni world building in the sense that the further we go, the more our tech invades our space and invades our persons, right? So the idea of the optic is that idea carried out to its conclusion. It's that at some point we won't need to hold a phone anymore. We'll have something in our bodies that will hold all of that hardware and subsequently the software. So the optic is meant to be the merging of augmented, virtual, and actual reality by mounting smartphone technology onto one of your eyes, the optic nerve of your eyes, so that basically all of this is transferred inside your mind, and you see in terms of holographics and in terms of augmented reality. So instead of going on your screen and moving your finger around to pull up an app, you're just using a series of voice commands and hand gestures and hand movements to do all of the things that you would be able to do with your smartphone. But you see your smartphone interface and screen and apps almost like a Minority Report. Have you guys seen that film? Oh, yeah. They have those holographic sort of screens that he moves around and all of that. It's that idea, but you're the only one seeing it. Mm-hmm. So it's customizable reality in your field of vision. And the optic was introduced in the Omni universe, along with all of these different innovations, as a solution to a crisis. This one was specifically related to a global famine. So there was a global famine, and the way that they rationed food and were able to deliver to individual households was through basically the tech company seeing through your eyes, seeing your needs. You'd have to look at your fridge or your cupboard, and they would see your inventory of your whatever, the thing is, your milk or whatever.
So it connects all humanity, basically.
Yeah. Basically, the interconnectedness went to a new level in this world when this innovation became mainstream.
Mm-hmm. All right, the pulse.
The pulse occurs pre-optic, and I'm cheating. I just want to make sure I'm touching on the things that I'm trying not to spoil too much. You understand? Yeah. So, like, the glossary in the front was meant to give people something to refer back to and to introduce the world, right? But I had to walk it's a really fine line between spoiling the story and allowing people to read it without being confused. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many pieces of it, right? So I'll just read what's in the text. Omni's ingenious response to the crisis of emotion. It's an AI algorithm installed through DNA which releases hormones to curb negative feelings. It is a universally accepted means to create peace in both individuals and society as a whole. It eradicates violent crime, mass shootings, depression, addiction, and suicide. It also establishes Omni as the official government of the entire Earth. The release of the pulse is the first incidence of biologically integrated, artificially intelligent algorithm into Homo sapiens on a wide scale.
Mm-hmm. So you literally have characters in the book who start to feel frustrated or anxious, and it's just like, oh, I don't like how I feel. And then they can all of a sudden, they can feel the pulse kicking in, rebalancing them.
This was the thing that changed the world and made Omni more than a big tech company. Because who wouldn't want this, right? And that's what I tried to think of is like, what is an innovation or an app or a thing that solves a solution or that solves something that each of us deals with that would be almost impossible to say no to? And the idea here is the allure of tech is insatiable. It's impossible for most people anyways, to say no to something like this, because we all, especially in the world that we live now, and I think it will even get worse, mental health is a big deal, right? And there are reasons for this. And I go into it a little bit in this story, but I want to explore it further in the next one that I'm writing, which actually revolves around the pulse itself. Like, how did this, let's zoom in on how this actually came to be,
Dude, and it sounds tempting. It sounds tempting as a reader, like as someone who does have to figure out anxious thoughts and anxiety. Like anxiety sucks, man. Like it does not feel good. And to think of the times where I'm like, okay, I know this is just anxiety. I know that it doesn't necessarily describe what reality is like. It's just a feeling. It's not like to imagine all of a sudden just something kicking in automatically, and it's just like, oh, it's gone. Awesome. No work. I mean, it sounds kind of tempting, if that was around and accessible, it'd be like, man, that would be tough to say no to.
It makes me think about one of the things I teach my kids is, emotions aren't bad. It's what you do with them. Like if they get angry about something, like the emotion of anger isn't bad. It's what you do with it. And if you could just automate that, like we love automating things these days, and automating your emotions and how you respond to it. It sounds very appealing.
Yeah, that's exactly in my mind. I try to put myself into this world and think about, well, what are things that I would want to have? Just me without thinking about the consequences of them, just things that would make my life better. And it's similar to what you just expressed, Joey. Like one of the battles that I've always faced dating back to as long as I can remember is when I feel something, I feel it really strongly to the point where it overwhelms me. And I'm sure I've had the thought along the way is like, I wish I could just feel less because I'm too controlled by my own emotions. And I've made decisions in my life along the way out of those emotions that I look back on, and you look back, and not that you live with regret, because I try not to live with regret, but you look back and you say, if I just wouldn't have ... and it's always rooted in the reaction to your own emotions. So for me, this would be something that I would be very tempted to install, or whatever the term is, take part in. This is an app that I would definitely pay money for. Right. And the real allure inside of this world building is this becomes free for everybody. Because the company developed it as a response to societal meltdown. And this is how I thought of this. There is a direct correlation between how much time we spend on our phones, how much time we spend on the internet, how much time we spend on social media, and depression and a whole host of other, emotional ails, right? So you figure as we become more digitally oriented as a species, the more our mental health will suffer, to a point where we will see evidences of this around us, and someone will have to intervene, whether that's the medical establishment, which they already are, right? We, in America especially, the prevalence of, quote, medicine in treating our emotional states has only increased, right? Along with all of the other things mentioned in that paragraph that I read, suicide rates and
murder
and depression and, school shootings and all the above. So at some point,
yeah, you could you could see people making a moral case for it. Like if you can't support the pulse, then you don't care about kids in school. You don't care about school shootings. You don't care about people in general. You're inhumane if you can't support this sort of thing.
I love that you just said that, because who wouldn't want to be on that bandwagon, right? It's
there'd be a pulse mob online.
Totally.
You'd be canceled if you didn't like the pulse. All right,
100%.
Transpar.
Okay, so Transpar is something that was implemented earlier than this in the world building, right? So I'm moving backwards. The optic is closer to present in the story, which is 2046. The pulse was made accessible or made available in the world prior to the optic, and Transpar was prior to that. So it happens in stages, right? Transpar, a universal facial recognition digital identification system. The climate crisis, which served as its catalyst, left major segments of the population displaced. The Transbar system rendered borders virtually obsolete and provided a means for expedited transportation, relocation, and immigration. It also allows governments to geo-target individuals with frightening efficiency. So we're pretty close to this right now, the universal digital ID. And there's a number of things on the table that are sort of all interconnected at this very moment. I don't know if you guys have seen all of the push for real ID. Are you guys familiar with that? So in order to travel, I believe, was it April of last year or is it April of this year? You have to have a real ID.
They keep moving it. They've been moving it ahead for years.
But now they find you if you don't have it.
Yeah, well, right now I think they've actually they're holding to a date, but for years it kept getting pushed back.
So connected to this, I'm trying to remember the date and where I was going. I'm pretty sure it was an international flight that I was taking. It might have been 2 years ago. It might have been 3 years ago. But I usually fly Delta. When I'm just loyal to them because I think they're one of the better domestic airlines. I think the best of the big three. So I was flying Delta. I think I was going to Germany or somewhere in Europe. And before I boarded the international segment, they had it was the first time I ever saw it, but they had a camera set up where they asked you to do the facial recognition. And I just did it without thinking. And afterwards I was like, I could have opted out of that. And that's a great example of what I'm trying to illustrate in telling this story is we don't even think about how we're contributing to all of this. We just do it because who wants to read terms of service? Who wants to hold up the line at the airport because you want to opt out of the thing that everybody else is doing without thinking, right? But I remember that moment and I felt really convicted about it and was very mad at myself for a good portion of that flight because I should have opted out of that thing. Now, they already have it through this. You know what I mean? They already have my face because you need it to be able to do the things on the phone, right? But still, I see this as something, the Transbar thing in the Omni universe, it's magnified, right? Everything, it looks a little bit more dramatic on the paper, on the page. But a lot of these innovations that are fictitious or fantasy in the book that I wrote are just projections of what I see going on.
And are there, to your mind, in your mind, are there any, I had fun with that imagination, but no way? Or is everything in this book you're thinking, it's a possibility? And we can edit this out if we need to. I don't think it gives away too much, but basically death is solved. Like death is, there's a solution for mortality. Like I said, we can edit that out if you want us to. But do you think any of your ideas are completely far-fetched off the table, not going to happen? Or are you like, nah, there's a chance?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a Hollywood element to it all, right? Because I always imagined making this into something visual. Originally we were going to make this into a visual album, and we got pretty far down that road. And then I pivoted to let's finish the novel and let's go another route with that. So there are pieces to answer that specifically. Do I think there will be a reemerged floating Tower of Babel? Probably not. Do I think that the smartphone technology via the optic will look the same as the picture that I painted? Not necessarily. I'm not locked into that. Do I think that there will be an emotional algorithm that that's controlled by a big tech company inside of us? Maybe, maybe not. It might not look that way. It just depends on how things line up. There's I wanted to make something that was fantastic but plausible at the same time in terms of the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, why don't you and tread lightly, because seriously, I want to focus the rest of our time on some deeper philosophical questions, but give listeners just a snapshot of the storyline. They kind of have a somewhat of a visual of the futuristic world that you've painted, but tell us about a little bit about the storyline.
I'll just read the back of the book.
There you go.
Omni, a global technocracy, has risen to unite humanity under one government, social media network, and commerce system. Their applications, released to the public to combat a series of international crises, transform daily life in dramatic fashion. In celebration of their latest application called the AUGMENT, many millions gather at a massive music festival called OMNIFEST. The company marketing describes it as the most significant innovation in all recorded history. Although the specific details surrounding the app are murky, it is rumored to extend human lifespans. The hype is enormous. David Markham, an influencer for Omni Social Media, is commissioned to document the festival on an official live stream for the state. It is his big break, his first opportunity to host content on a worldwide stage. As the festival proceeds, he learns the dark truth about the company he serves, the tech he worships, the people he trusts, and ultimately himself. Omni, the debut novel from me, is a mind-bending journey through a plausible near-future scenario, one where the singularity is only inches away. It explores our relationship with metaphysics, AI, media, and one another in the emerging transhumanistic order. It also examines an existential dilemma, which all of us may soon face. What would you sacrifice in order to cheat mortality? How would you respond if you no longer feared death?
Sweet. I'm going to turn to Jack here, and Jack, I'm curious. Like we've talked a lot about the Tower of Babel, and we're looking at where AI is headed, where technology is headed, and I mean just genetic engineering and deciding what kind of child you want to have, and just everything. Like, do you think there'll ever be a moment, and I term it like a Tower of Babel moment, when God is like, enough is enough. You guys have figured out too much, and similar to the Tower of Babel in Genesis, it's like, I'm just going to put a stop to this.
Well, I don't know if there'll ever be a moment where it's like, oh, you guys have figured out too much. But I mean, I think the moments of, all right, that's enough of that, happen all the time. I mean, that's just another way of saying does God judge civilizations or nations? It's like, oh yeah, of course he does. And so, you know, do I think that there will be a judgment at some point for, I was going to say technological hubris, but I mean, you know, whatever. I'm kind of
being careful right now.
No, I'm deciding not to be careful. I'm sort of the opinion that, like, if you don't think that in part, you know, COVID was in part judgment on our hubris, I mean, I don't know what else you think it was. And not just like, you know, whatever you think, oh, you know, it was a lab, it was natural. No, I'm not even talking about that. I just mean we were convinced that we could control anything. You know, like think about all of the early responses. It was like, oh, look, just do this, just do that. It'll be fine. We can stop the spread. And, you know, I think that, you know, we were so confident that we could manipulate and control anything that came our way. And I think, you know, one of the things that COVID did is it really revealed, oh, we're not really actually in control of very much at all. And that's what I mean when it's like I think that is an example of, you know, one of the ways that God judges people, nations, civilizations is, you know, he strips away everything that you are most proud of and reveals, you know, that you are actually quite naked and unable to do anything at all. And that certainly won't be the last such moment. I think that, you know, there will be more of those for sure.
So let me ask all of y'all this. Do you think that so all of us share common Christian faith, and so we all agree on the capacity for evil and all in humanity's hearts, greed, selfishness. Do you think there'll be a time though where it's like, wow, we are we can see around the corner a utopian society where everything is kind of solved. And if we didn't have a biblical framework, we'd be like, this is really awesome. We've figured out, like, an example that I'll give is, and I think I said this on a different episode. I don't know if you were on it or not, Jack, but Elon Musk basically made a statement as far as if you're saving up for retirement right now, it doesn't even matter. Don't even worry about it. Everything is, I forgot what his philosophy was, but basically everything's going to be taken care of. And I don't know if he's thinking like a socialistic worldwide society, but do you think there'll ever be a time when if not for a Christian perspective on the human heart, all of us would be like, wow, this is really awesome. We're solving a lot. No more cancer. Almost no disease. We're really heading in a very awesome direction. Just anybody.
I mean, I have thoughts, but I just talked. Do you want me to talk right away again?
Go for it.
Well, I was thinking about that because you kind of, sent Adam and I someone say, hey, here's some things we might be talking about. So I was thinking about that question. And I kind of have a couple of thoughts. One is, from the perspective of someone living 500 years ago, they might think that's exactly what we have. I mean, one of the reasons that, in Genesis, why is paradise portrayed as just there's fruit everywhere? It's like, well, because for almost the entirety of human history, you were one bad harvest away from starving. So the idea that there's a place where you can just pick food all the time, just food everywhere all the time, that was one of the things that represented paradise to people. We have that, literally. There is, nothing keeping me from eating anytime I want. And so, like, from the perspective of someone living 500, 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago, what, Western cultures, they might think that. So that's kind of one thought.
Because your whole point of living was I wake up in the morning and I've got to go hunt or gather.
Well,
in order to survive.
And the amount of, I talked to, I just said a second ago about how little control we actually have, but we have way more, even that is way more control than you had over your own life 500, 1,000 years ago. And so that's one thought. The other thing, though, is I think one of the blind spots for it's not just a progressive impulse, but I do think it is particularly strong there, is sort of the utopia is just around the corner if we can just get the policy right. And sort of this belief of humans are capable of utopia if we just do the right things. And I think, obviously from a Christian perspective, we were created for utopia, but we're incapable of realizing it on our own. And so I think that, is it possible? I don't think it's possible. But I do think, again, given what I just said, that in 50, 100 years, we could have a civilization that, from our perspective, looks like as good as utopia.
That makes sense. What do you think, Andrew?
Repeat the gist of the question for me.
Yeah, the gist of the question is, do you think we'll ever arrive at a time where, let's just say, let's take the Christian perspective away. We don't think that human naturally has the propensity for evil, and we're not naturally selfish. We're not naturally full of greed. Would there be a time when you're looking at the world and you're like, wow, we've solved, there's no more cancer. There's almost no sickness. There's very little emergencies. There's no need for emergency rooms. Like, we are right around the corner to having problems solved and almost living in a perfect society. Like, I don't think that heaven is actually going to be perfect, but I'm saying, would we ever reach a time where it's like, because of technology, well, we're pretty close. Again, the Christian perspective aside.
There are two sides to the answer, I think. One is, I would tend to say yes in terms of ability, in terms of our innovation growing to a point where we have the actual answers to a lot of the problems. So that's in a theoretical vacuum, the answer would probably be yes. However, because we live in a world of commerce, and because of how much the corporations and the power structure is contingent upon treating malady, and I'm talking specifically about the medical establishment, I find it implausible because of how much money changes hands because of problems. The entire interweb is built upon monetizing strife and anger and disdain for one another and for issues and such. And again, getting back to the medical establishment, big pharma, etc. If you get rid of cancer, they can't treat it anymore. You know what I'm saying? And connected to that is the very real depopulation agenda. There's a consensus, it seems. I'm not in the meetings, of course, but the highest ups, and folks like Bill Gates have let his thoughts seep out on a few occasions on this subject. There's too many people. How do we take care of and feed this many people? Well, we have to, make sure that we're consistently making certain, or attempting to at least curb population growth, right? So optimizing our health is contrary to that agenda. So I think there are factors involved that will make that scenario very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I think even if let's entertain the idea like that we were able to get to that point. I think about like how I am when I'm hit a goal. I'm like, oh, if I could just get to here, then I'll be happy. But then I get there, and then I'm like, oh, but now if I could just get to here, then I'm going to be happy. And there's always something that we're pursuing. And I just feel like even if we got to that point, Christian nature aside, there still would be like, oh, but what if we could do this or this? Like there's always going to be some fruit dangling in front of us, carrot dangling in front of us, that's going to be pushing us towards something else that, let's say we did solve world hunger, we solved, all health issues, agendas aside, there still would be something else that means we're going to be discontent with where we are because we're like, oh, but what if we did that?
So in other words, humanity will never be satisfied. You really think that?
and this side of heaven. No,
I agree. I'm being sarcastic. Yeah, for sure. No, that's a good point. So Andrew, Omni, I want to make sure people know for the heavy music consumers, there's an album that coincides with this book, and I thought it was neat. Adam shared how it really made the book come alive, and even a fresher way, like even a deeper way. It was like even a better reading experience with the music.
Yeah, I was listening to the music while reading the book, both volume 1 and 2. And
cool.
It makes it even better.
Dude. Yeah, that was the original intent, right? And this has always been a dream of mine. Been making music for quite a while now. It's to create a more immersive experience, right? For those that would be willing to do a little bit of extra, I don't know if it's work, but are willing to, take my hand, so to speak, and come with me a little bit further down the rabbit hole. Let's write a piece of music that's narrative in nature, but not make it so thematic that it compromises the actual music listening experience. Let's tie in the lyrics to that narrative, but make it so, again, you have to dig a little bit to really understand what's going on, and let's connect all of that with an actual piece of fiction. And the goal for me moving forward is to do this on every subsequent piece of music that I work on. Let's have a novel connected to lyrics, connected to the music, have it all be one experience, right?
So you've kind of turned into a nerdy rock star. You used to just be a rock star.
Dude, I've always been nerdy, man. I'm so nerdy, it's ridiculous. My daughter, who's 15, whenever I even touch upon any of this stuff that I'm into, she just rolls her eyes like, dude, you are so dorky. Don't ever talk to my friends about any of this. Which is hilarious. We'll
have everything in the show notes, but there's videos out there that accompany the music and the storyline. I know there's some possible talk of screenwriters turning this into a movie. So you've kind of turned into a futurist, man. I'm going to put that label on you. You're a futurist. You've even done some research. It's not just a hobby. Like, you're actually doing some deeper work and writing fictional on it, man. Congrats on all your work. Congrats
I'll
on
take
all your
it.
work.
Thanks, man.
So we'll close with Adam telling his top 3 favorite Project 86 albums. Go.
Truthless Heroes is at the top, which I know a lot of people kind of jumped on then, but that was the first one I heard. And
Cool.
then, what is the... I'm terrible with names, and I was looking at them a second ago.
Me too. I don't even
I know the album cover by my heart, but it was Songs to Burn Your Bridges by. I feel stupid. But then jumping forward, Knives of the Future.
Don't feel stupid.
Well, that's my normal. But jumping forward, Knives of the Future. There's 2 or 3 songs from that album that are on my favorite playlist. It's called my Melancholy playlist, and actually, I think they were the first songs on that playlist. And I just putting this bug in your ear. If you ever wanted to do a whole album in that style,
what songs?
Jack, what's your 3 favorite 5 Iron Frenzy songs?
Oh, jeez. Honestly, that's tough. I haven't listened to him in a while, but like I grew. The one that I was introduced to was our newest album ever.
Yeah.
And so
the last song on that still makes me cry.
Well, that's the cliched answer, is to have that be your favorite song.
Right.
I was always a big fan of Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Too. That was great. That came out when I was in college. And I was listening to that again, like, man, there's just a lot of bangers on this one.
That's good stuff.
Breakin' 2 reference. That's a deep cut. Do you guys even know that song title's from a film?
Mm-mm.
I'm not sure I did.
I didn't either.
So in the 80s, remember breakdancing was big. So there was a film that came out called Breakin'.
Oh.
And then Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo was the title, which is ridiculously funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I see where they were going there.
All right. Good news. It's actually more than 3. It's Nocturnal Gaze,
Cool.
Firefly Without a Night, Transposer.
Oh, okay.
In Trenches, which I love the story of, about the snowball fight juxtaposition.
Yeah.
And then also Oculus, which is not from Knives of the Future. It is from Knives of the Future. So 4 of them are from the deluxe album, and then Oculus is from the actual album.
Yeah, so we wrote an acoustic EP, glorified acoustic, right? It has other instrumentation going on, but it was meant to be chill. So I think that's what you meant, right? Like the chill, melancholy vibes.
It's heavily driven by your vocals and just the, like, not to like fawn on your vocals, but like it just has a quality to it that lends itself so well, both to screaming to that. No, thank you.
Thanks, man.
But it's almost like a haunting moodiness.
Yeah, that's what we're going for.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You hit it.
I appreciate that so much, dude. Yeah, admittedly, I'm not really known as a singer, more known as a yeller, shouter, whatever. So the singing, I have a unique relationship with singing. If you are on the Patreon, I've talked about it a few times. But I was much more satisfied, believe it or not, with that EP compared to the album. It's not that I was not satisfied with the album, but I felt really good about it felt very natural recording those songs and writing those songs. It was new, you know what I mean? And specifically that song In Trenches, I love that one because it's not dark, it's just, it was literally me remembering a snow day from when I was a kid. So I meant it as kind of an epilogue to the heaviness of the Knives of the Future thematics. So appreciate that so much, dude.
Yeah,
it's Andrew Schwab, everybody. And so you accept Adam's apology for that?
No.
I will not sleep again.
Oh, no.
Dude, I need that photo. I want to post that on the Patreon. So you guys got to get that to me. That would be really cool.
I'll shoot it over.
And it's really great to connect with you, Adam, Joey again, and great to meet you, Jack, as well.
You as well.
See you, Andrew. Thanks so much, man.
You've been listening to Seacoast Church's Things You Won't Hear on Sunday podcast. We are now on Instagram. Go to instagram.com/SeacoastPod for your one-stop shop to interact with this podcast and chime into the conversation. You can also be a patron of the podcast and receive exclusive content and live feeds of our recordings. All of your support goes towards Seacoast ministry efforts and local presence. All of this information is in the show notes. Thanks so much for listening.